actually has an extremely hard time living by himself, has to live off his TV dinners, with a den in the basement that is patterned after Studio 54 with red leather like a bordello, with a back sliding glass door to a swimming pool, has a really hard time living by himself and has to be taken care of, really. So he was given the favors of a front with Walter J. Horton Associates Income Tax Service. He is really incompetent at, and he messed up my taxes so bad, and I know it was on purpose. When it was usurped upon me once by the rest to have him do my taxes for me once, when I've always done my taxes before, and suddenly I was illegal, brother. But dealing with them, it always happens. Never dealing with them ever again. When I think I made like $12,000 that year because of them, with their plots on my life that I had suspected of discovery, investigated about through all of my life and through my adult life, conspired on my jobs, to cause damages, to take home, and to hurt my employment. Actually has an extreme... This Gary Horton was significant as opposed to my biological parents' marriage in a cultic networking alliance. That was father. He asked my father what Uncle Gary's problem was with his behavior. The answer always was, that's just Gary. He's always been a social butterfly. Of course, this was before I was born. I'm the firstborn son. Conceived within months of my parents' marriage in 1969, July. I was born a year later, August 11th, 1970. Mother's maiden name side of the family is named Isaac, as known. Grandfather Bronislaus was first-generation immigrant. Immigrated as not Asian when his father was in a family of burgomeisters, the son of Poland, though German. When I was approximately 1 on a vacation that was actually one of my dad's so-called business trips to Hollywood, California, while my parents went to a ritualist Playboy club, along with the Chinese front LTD incorporated conglomerate that my father had worked for. Excuse me, he worked for Pricewaterhouse at the time. That was before he worked for LTD, the Chinese conglomerate. I was babysat by a co-employee named Ted, who was Andy Kaufman's almost identical doppelganger, along with Joseph Martusio of the city government of the municipality of Canton, Ohio. Such people as entertainers were amongst company at my father's business trips, which were always of employment by non-credential through nepotism and partiality of occultic affiliations. They do include the roasts of Dean Martin and the Rat Pack, like what Ronald Reagan was a part of, and then along with Arnold Schwarzenegger, were really what he was going to, that Elvis Presley was present at. But this night, suspicious to keep Ted occupied, I usurped control of the babysitting situation, and Andy's doppelganger Ted was pleased with the suggestion, so I didn't have to pursue any more persuasive efforts to play a Johnny Carson show when there was a large curtain at the window. I told him to say, "Here's Johnny," like McMahon did. And my monologue was about how we went to Universal Studios and saw Frankenstein come to our bus before entering the park. And then I had a Polish grandpa. That's what happened that day. You see, so the monologue was off of that. And then that I have a Polish grandpa that acts just like him, and he also talks like Tonto. He's been featured as a personality identity who is actually himself dead. All the loop-like manifest phenomena constantly, and it's really annoying, by some people who, by occult gathering orientation, mental state aberrations, are deceived that they are my grandfather, a group of them, as doppelganger phenomena with that personality identity at all covered for past assertions and other intelligence. Andy Kaufman was not yet known yet. He began ideas as a busser at a restaurant of comedy stand-up of mimicking me, actually mocking me, with memory of a discussion with Ted that I had done that, and also Elvis impersonations twice when I was asked to by friends of my father, and then refused to after the second time when I was 3. And he mimics me doing Elvis impersonations, which they knew as the audience of Saturday Night Live and Occult that was the basis when they were all in the same occultic divination assignments. That was the content of Andy Kaufman's bizarre comedy that otherwise you really wouldn't understand. So there's always the personality identity of Grandpa for Isaac's obsession in the Loop Tank Manifest, or the Loop Tank Insurrection Group Core. Everyone hearing, and they've become familiar with the delusional systematic ideation concept policy of Loop Tank Insurrection. Grandpa, who is referred to as eventually before his time alive, is dead. And this is all disinformation with their delusions. We hear this guy, we all know what I'm talking about. And the voices that berate me with verbal abuse all day long. He was psychologically abusive with his low intelligence, with the ways that he was. But this alliance leading to the marriage, to this marriage foresight, was while Gary was a student at the University of Pennsylvania. He needed to be taken care of by a cult that had a commune that my biological mother's brother, who was known as Eddie Heydrich, was a member of. While he was there receiving credentials by nepotism and partiality, actually non-credentials, only being a social butterfly, as it were said, when everything he does is incompetent, illegal, and corrupt. And status that he has ever had is only because of favoritism and partiality of affiliation of the occult network that was like a pyramid scheme that was led by Peter Gabriel, who is a semi-distant, semi-close relative from England, Gary New, that was running the cult commune as the cult leader of a cult that was with the front of his minstrel troupe at the time during the late 60s and early 70s. And Steve Hackett of the same minstrel group, a string instrumentalist of the same minstrel group, who had been fired from it, was present at the commune cult commune, that by Gabriel family connections with the Club of Rome of the Roman Catholic Magisterium Vatican, which is the seat of Satan, contemporarily for a long time, for hundreds of years. His cult was supported at the front of this minstrel group that operated a conspiracy of British invasion communes that operated FM transmitters when his father was an electronic engineer and probably was involved with the invention of frequency modulation when only amplitude modulation and its band was acknowledged without the invention of frequency modulation by the FCC in the late 60s and early 70s without any regulation for these reasons. This commune cult that Gary Horton and Eddie Heidzik belonged to, that was under the leadership of who I said, was one of the communes that ran an FM transmitter. So was Patty Hearst's strange commune cult, was a part of the network of these communes when she was desperate and robbed a bank, or attempted to. Actually, these are the hippies that had split around of the British invasion conspiracy faction of the whole conspiratorial network of the occult. There began to be a controversy at a section of this bandwidth, resulting in it being taken control of and regulated by the FCC during the 70s, and normal radios did not have an FM dial. Really, predominantly, when it became predominant, it was really not into the 80s. And because of some of its content, it was very suspicious that under the leadership of Peter Gabriel in a divination assignment, it was about killing me, who was saved by an angel divine protection at my birth when they tried to kill me as a human sacrifice, and has been on assignment to murder me ever since in the ways of the occult, and is involved with all these record companies and so forth through his connectivities as the hierarchy satanic agent that he is, related to Horton family as an Englishman. The pyramid scheme has always been around who is in closeness with me, with myself, in a central plot on myself. So these in the pyramid scheme of the occult, and then favors have been predominant. They're members of my family and others in close relationship with them, etc. Content on the bandwidth before the seizing of control and regulation by the FCC was cryptically about this and alerted, such as much content of Gabriel's fronting career when it was a front of a cult leader of a cult with these ideations. The content was about this, and soothsaying visions and dreams they have while divining. Also such as Eric Clapton. These are successors of British invasion progenitors of evil, subversive agent provocateurs in acts of or Perlovac. Eddie Heidzik married Catty Witch, as is her nomenclature by the way of intelligence analysis, to keep identities separate. Identities of personality, identities separate, with separate nomenclature. Catty Witch with a defined profile. The profile includes that her actual name is Catherine Heidzik. They were teammate Cathy's. This is because she is a sadistic hag of a witch, literally. And her nickname was Catty, because she is a catty. When I was a child, by my grandmother during family meetings. She was pretending to study to be an educator, but was a lesbian. As a crypto-satanic, along with her family genealogy of the Presbyterian denomination of English Reformation Presbyterianism, she is a member of this Peter Gabriel's cult, with the front of the minstrel troupe, with record contract, in connectivity with the Club of Rome, from Rome, as support by family connections, hierarchy, and Satanism, her past assertions, and other intelligence. His family must change their name to Gabriel with the ideation of their family that goes along with their genealogies, occult ideations. They have ideation that they are in alliance with Gabriel the angel, who has been caused to fall. The theology of this is beyond the scope of purpose for this document. It seems they therefore changed their name to Gabriel. He likes to use the word charm. He believes with sorcery means he is extremely persuasive, and it's charming. It seems they've charmed the Roman Catholic Church when they don't. When the Roman Catholic Church doesn't even care, the Magisterium doesn't even care to see Satan that is the head of all the occult network. It doesn't even really matter, and he's been involved in projects of the Magisterium, including Opus Dei. which is Latin for word of God, and it's really a secret society cult of the devil, with this divination assignment essentially targeting me also of Pope John Paul II, a Polishman, that there is also semi-distant family relations with on my mother's side of the family is the effect. And I do believe, upon well-reasoned evidence, that it's the reason why he was stuck as Pope. This catty witch with the commune, while my mother was a parochial school teacher for 1 year before she totally failed to get fired, tried to kill me along with my mother when I was a toddler on a barge, while as a thespian they gathered a field trip to the barge where her thespian troupe performed ad-libbed, really childishly, Chicken Little. There was a shipping crate on the barge of the United States Coast Guard. It was their barge, and they tried to kill me as a ritual, and they couldn't. It was actually stopped by Coast Guardmen that barged in. This is a memory of mine. They all began screaming at me, "How can you say this? Guy's going to fall," or something, while they were threatening my life. My mother was in my face scowling, saying it like a human sacrifice rituals with their sadistic behavior. It was my mother's parochial school class. She got fired shortly after with reports to the school. It seems Peter Gabriel hooked my biological mother's brother, so-called disowned uncle, Eddie Heidzik, with Catty Witch, that then did get engaged to Harry. And in the pyramid scheme, when Peter Gabriel was seeking everybody that would be close to me in my life on a pyramid, on a divination assignment curse, they arranged that a cultic alliance would be made. Gary then introduced my mother, biological mother, to his brother, my biological father, and ended up that they did get married. These are hierarchy in the pyramid scheme that has become the Lieutenant Insurrection Corps and have been claiming to be the National Security Council of the UN. This is covered per past assertions in previous intelligence. Peter Gabriel has been associated with Geffen Records of Great Britain. There is a network of associated record companies and scouting. There is a record contracts, the pacts with the devil to be a part of the pyramid scheme divination assignments as obligatory with the record contracts. This entails virtually all of the recording industry and all the entertainment industries. This Gary Horton was